All right, Tarot fam, you guys are back for part 2 of Kurt Cobain. I'm going to be right back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. And in this video, we are exploring some of the renewed interest in the Kurt Cobain death in 1994. So I am a Generation Xer. So Kurt Cobain had a significant impact on my listening during my college years. Just to give you a recap, March 30th, 1994, Kurt Cobain left a rehab facility on April 5th. 1994. That is the official date of his death, but his body was not discovered until April 8th, 1994. While all of this was going on, Courtney Love was in a hotel room down in Los Angeles, allegedly detoxing herself, and she had enlisted the help of Tom Grant, who was a former police officer and turned private detective. So a lot of weird stuff. So in February of 2026, this month, independent forensic commentary resurfaced online suggesting homicide theories based on toxicology, interpretation, and the scene analysis. Authorities have not reopened the case. There is a decline on that. They are not going to reopen the case, but we are with some tarot and with some scrying. So I learned in the first video that I don't have to take notes and go off camera and do my scrying. I can just do it right into the microphone right here. So I hope this is working for you. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I am stretching my legs on my scrying practice with my Otter Spirit Obsidian Sphere. You guys can get one of these for yourself or a gemstone of your choice by going to my Otter Spirit link in the description and in my About page. And if you use Fortune 20, you can get 20% off any purchase. Fortune 30, you can get 30% off purchases of $99 or more. So why don't you splurge while you're at it and get yourself sensuality set like I have. I'm also wearing my Scorpio strength set too. So I am stacking it up here with my Otter Spirit. So I love Otter Spirit. They're a great partner, a great company to be an ambassador for. I don't want to suggest I'm their partner, but I love their stuff. Hopefully you will too, especially if you're trying to learn how to scry. You can get one of these obsidian spheres and you are going to go bananas with it. So let's talk about the divorce claims. So the divorce and will claim. So there are allegations that have circulated for decades. This is, we're going on decades with Kurt Cobain at this point, that Cobain wanted Courtney Love removed from his will. He wanted to get a divorce. There are rumors that he was dating someone, that he was involved with someone. Kristen Pfaff, she actually turned up not alive either. So there's a lot of stuff going on. He allegedly was seeking a divorce attorney, and Courtney Love absolutely had relayed to Tom Grant, her private detective, that she had asked their attorney for the meanest divorce attorney she could find because the MFer was going to cut her out of the will. So a lot of moving parts on this. Courtney Love is chaos incarnate. She is very hard to follow her train of thought and her thinking. I'm hoping that scrying is going to help me step into her a little bit more. So there's no official court record of the divorce filing, and the attorney in question has not ever publicly admitted that that was the circumstance going on. The claims originate primarily from the private investigator and his accounts and interviews conducted with him specifically. So doesn't make them false. It just makes this that there are no verified public records about this particular nuance in the Kurt Cobain off the planeting. So what's circulating online is the toxicology capacity argument. So what this is all about is that he had taken this inordinate amount of substance of his choice. You guys, if you know Kurt Cobain, you know what it was. He had taken an inordinate amount of this substance to take himself off the earth plane. Conversely, some people think that coming out of rehab, he estimated an incorrect dosage, because when individuals that are using substances clean up for a little while, they will go back to the same amount that they used before, and that will sometimes cause some issues. So one of the other new evidence bits is that the crime scene was too clean, that there wasn't any excessive mess in there, and there are some claims of staging. I want to reiterate, this is an independent review commentary, not an official reopening. The Seattle police have refused to reopen the case, as has the King County medical examiner. So let's get into the psychic stuff. So you guys, if you've watched the first half of this, you're going to know that at the end, I was feeling that there was an initial smack to this part of the face, like this part right here. It just felt like there was a smack to that part of the face, not the blast that ultimately did its thing. That I felt more in the back, but this was like here, and it felt like a palm. It felt like a palm. So let's pull up my card view, and you guys know I'm going to scry a little bit during this as well. So we're going to put my obsidian crystal ball right there. And as I told you in part one, I'm using the Witch's Tarot, which I never use this deck, but it's a little wicked. It's a little wild. Maybe it's going to be our Wicked Wednesdays deck. So was there external orchestration? Nine of Pentacles in reverse, not protected, not surrounded by the people that would protect him. Was there emotional manipulation prior to his death? King of Swords, someone very crafty. Courtney Love has a genius IQ. Just little maybe non sequitur there. Genius IQ. Was he planning a major life change? Two of Wands in reverse, guys. That's a major life change. It's going in two different directions. We've made up our mind, but we're still stuck in the muck a little bit. What was Courtney's energetic position? Four of Swords. She's sick of sitting on her hands. She's going to go do it. What is still hidden? Ten of Swords, the executioner. What is myth? How many of you remember Courtney Love crying, reading the note? How many of you remember that? I remember that. I remember that. And I remember thinking, there's no way. There's no way she's doing that. The only reason she's doing that is for the views. The views. Or as Miss Lady Gaga says, the applause, the applause. Was there external orchestration? Yes, one of the gentlemen was absolutely the dark one. The one that went up into the office and talked with him for some length of time was a facilitator. The other one is the one who had the guts to do it. He's a very hard dude, the second dude. Very hard dude. And I don't know where that other female is. I think she is still in the house. I think she's still in the house. We're going to jump into her. I don't have it on my outline, but we're going to jump into her as well. Over here, we have emotional manipulation. And that is by the guy that, let's call him dude one, the one that went up into the office with him, but Kurt knew he was manipulating him. He knew that he was trying to manipulate him. I'm just figuring out in this video, guys, that I scry much better when I hold the sphere. So if you guys are experimenting with scrying, hold the sphere. I thought I didn't have to hold it. I'm holding the sphere and it's working better. So Kurt knew that he was being manipulated, and he was just chipping around the edges again, chipping around the edges. Here, Two of Wands, was he planning a major life change? He was trying to get to the dawn. He was trying to get to the new day. The baby was an issue for him. He didn't know, he thought both of them were incapable of like really being parents. Like, it's almost like he was like 15 years old and having a baby. He felt very um not capable, but wanted to be capable, wanted to be a better parent, wanted to get his act together and grow up a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. He wanted to grow up a little bit for her. And he did feel that the choice of childcare that they had was not very good. He didn't want to rely on family, and he didn't want to rely on hired help, because the hired help that they had had to date just didn't feel right to him. I mean, Frances Bean was so little. She was I think she was under 6 months old or under a year old. And just not, they just didn't have a right fit then. Um, Stepping into Courtney right now, guys. So bear with, bear with. She had administrative rage that was masking all of the shady doings that she was dealing with. I have no idea where the child is this whole time. And I don't think that she really knows where she is either. Um, the connection with her and Frances Bean is very, very strange. It's it's weird. And I'm not surprised she didn't have any other kids, because it just doesn't feel like that process. There was any curiosity in like being pregnant, and like most people, when you're pregnant, like you're really curious, and the what to expect when you're expecting is not enough. You want all this academic stuff. That's why you want all the scans and everything. And she just did not really have a curiosity about it. It was felt like she was a host. She felt like she was a host, and not really, exactly what she wanted to be doing with her body. Because that was kind of the thing. It's her body. Like, I'd like to get this out of my body. But that child, and this is why I'm so focused on it, that child is the connection. That is the connection. That is the keystone that she needs to make sure she can do what she needs to do. If she was written out of the will, she would have said, well, I need that money to raise our baby. He left and left a mess, and now I need that money to raise our baby. So if she gets it, I'm going to ride alongside, like that, like where we come together. We come together. You can't have one without the other. She can't be the heir to the king of grunge. I will always be the queen of grunge. Oof. So her anger with him is because he wanted to really unplug from a lot of this, a lot of their friends. You know, there was a lot of ne'er-do-wells. It's the second time I used that this week. A lot of ne'er-do-wells and like hangers on, just individuals who were just kind of around. Um, and he wanted that gone. Like he was just like, I just want to have like little barbecue and know everybody that's there. I don't want anybody bringing a +1 or a +5. um, because I think that even when they had small contained events, they wound up expanding by the +1s, the +2s, the +5s. People would show up. There's one friend in particular who would show up with like 10 friends, but I think Kurt actually liked him. I think that was one of his old friends, and it was just kind of something that dude did historically, and even after fame had taken over. So here, what is still hidden? The 10 of swords, and this is our executioner. Dude number one left before that part of the operation was done. He, I think, went down the stairs and covered his ears because he just didn't want to know when that hole was punched through into the other world. That's what I'm going to call it. Hole being punched through to the other world. Um, I think they both set him up with a little bit extra. I think they both did it. Dude number one, his hands were shaking though. He was really, really nervous about doing it. Dude number two is cold and icy. Feels like the mountain from Game of Thrones. He feels like that. He feels large and steely and scary and utterly soulless, utterly on a mission. Almost like MK Ultra. Almost feels like MK Ultra, that he's just so focused on what he's doing. So I think there was this, which is the big guy, the dude number two did this, and he was out, and then they did this, took care of this, and gave it a few minutes and waited until his breathing slowed down. They were watching his breathing. And then there was some excitement because they were worried that it already happened. And dude number one said, well, we don't have to do this. And dude number two said, yeah, we do. And dude number one went down the stairs and held his ears. What is the myth? And this boy, she is smart. This is her. She channeled all of her anxiety about getting caught into the emotion of that presentation. That's what I have to say. I'm going to call it a presentation. All of the anxiety. And there's a congratulatory moment after reading that letter that she's like, yeah, I got it. I got it. I did it. there's a moment when she is talking to the police, and somebody told her she needed to, like, get her ducks in a row, and she said, "Whatever I gotta do, whatever I gotta do for my kid, whatever I gotta do for my kid. I'm all she has. Now I'm all she has," which is not true. So the gal that I sensed that was in the house, I got 3 people. I got 2 men, dude 1, dude 2, and some girl. And she's, like, hanging out, like, watching TV. 9 of Cups, in the house, safe and sound, strength, biding her times, 6 of Cups. She hears it. She hears the noise. She knows. She knows something happened. And goes into, like, complete denial immediately. Dude number 1 is either a close friend or a boyfriend of hers, and he comes back into the house and his pulse is racing. He is not calm at all, not at all. And she can sense that. He's kind of tripping over his words, and they leave right after. I don't know if he says let's go or she says let's go, but they leave, and she's, kind of blazed, and I don't know if she's blazed, but feels like she was blazed. Just like kind of sitting on the couch, just like, biding her time until the guys came back. And when they come back with one less, she's got some questions, and she does get fearful that something could happen to her. Um, that she could be a witness to something there, and she's like, "Okay, let's just go," and she extracts them from the situation. Does she ask him in the car? She does. She asks him in the car what happened. I think she drives, and he says, "I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it." Will we ever find out what really happened that night? Will we ever find out? No. No. No, and now the mythology with people like internet sleuths and psychics that are on the internet, we're making it a little bit more complicated. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but the case is becoming more and more complicated. And I even think that in the fullness of time, Courtney Love will even express her adoration for her dead husband. She will leave some kind of statement that, now they'll be together forever, the king and queens of grunge. She had a fascination with Sid and Nancy. So that in and of itself is very much alarming. She did see them as the counterpart, a modern version of that. She also did audition for the role of Nancy Spungen in Sid and Nancy. That role ultimately went to Chloe Webb, who killed it. It was unbelievable. She was so good. And Gary Oldman, who played Sid Vicious. The movie did take some hits from John Lydon. He said, he wasn't like that at all. It was kind of not a great depiction of what had happened back then. But how do you tell Gary Oldman he didn't get it? He didn't nail it. Um, I keep getting this was the best possible outcome. This was the best possible outcome for the situation, the best possible outcome. But that is for her, not for anyone else. That is for her. She needed to turn the situation back into her favor. So, is there anything else? I am going to leave you guys with this. You know what cassette tapes are? Those of us that are old enough. There's a cassette tape, and it's one of those multicolored ones. It's got like a lot of, yeah, it's clear and it's got some yellow and some red on it. They were like fancy back in the day. There's a cassette tape that has, I don't want to say a confession, but it has some information on it that is important to this case and potentially is additional evidence that would reopen the case. There's red, there's yellow. It's a clear cassette tape and there's red and yellow. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of what I'm talking about. I'll put it on the thumbnail if I can. There is information spoken into a cassette tape that if the police had it, they would be able to investigate and question some very interesting people in association with this. So, do I think the mystery continues? I do. Do I think that we will find that missing evidence to be able to present it to the police? I don't know. Perhaps a remote view is needed on this. So let me know in the chat if you would like a remote view, if I could see if I could find said cassette tape, see what happened to it and see who had possession of it. But until then, I would love to know your thoughts on this. I'd love to know your thoughts on me scrying on camera. Like, does this make sense? Is it good? Is it good television for you? Is it good for you? So let's talk next time. Keep me posted. As always, members are going to get this first, so you're not going to have to wait the 2 weeks. But I will see you in the future, Wicked Wednesday people.